the way that the remedy was debunked, the powerful kind of agent of exposing it, was due to this fellow. And you might ask why. Well, why? What did Arthur Conan Doyle have to do with it? Well, it turned out that he was a physician in London at the time. And he was one of the scientists who, when Koch announced his Heilmittel, he flocked to Berlin just as everyone else did, just as the other scientists of the age did. And he tried to figure out whether Koch's remedy would work. He performed what he called an investigation. And he discerned that that remedy would not work. And so he published what was, in fact, the first debunking in literature, in published literature. He wrote it in the Evening Express, in the London Review of Reviews. He wrote 2 papers that basically explained why this immune response, this profound response that people had to the injection, there was a high fever, there was vomiting, diarrhea, lasted for several days, but he understood that that response, that fever, was not the same thing as a cure. And so his investigation was actually something that changed the fabric of Koch's life, because soon Koch would be on the way in the boat to Africa. But it also changed the fabric of Conan Doyle's life. Because what Conan Doyle decided to do, literally on the train ride back from Berlin on the way to the ferry back to England, he decided that he would give up his own medical career. He, like Koch, had been an anonymous physician who yearned to be something more. He, like Koch, felt that he was made to be something more than he was, but he didn't know where he would get that opportunity. It turned out that he would get his opportunity in part by doing this, in part by going on this kind of whim of an adventure. He came back and he wrote those stories. He gave up, he sold his practice, he moved to London, and he turned his pen back to a character that he had written a couple stories on that had not done very well. But he thought there was something in this character. And so within a few weeks, he had secured a contract to write several stories of a character called Sherlock Holmes, who in many ways was channeling the new scientific enthusiasms of the day. In many ways, Sherlock Holmes was an embodiment of this larger shift that society was going on, where people were starting to realize that science had this power, and it was starting to change our lives.